fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there. It's G.I. Joe against Cobra, the enemy, fighting to save the day. He never gives up, he's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there.
G.I. Joe is the code name for America's daring, highly trained Special Mission Force. Its purpose, to defend human freedom against Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world.
He never gives up, he'll stay till the fight's won. G.I. Joe will dare. G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe.
Hereby, this is Brian Dunaway, and you're listening to Comics Coast to Coast, episode 208, the Saturday morning Rememberable. That's right, Rememberable. Because you know what? I rememberable the Saturday mornings when I was a kid. Got up and got to watch cartoons all morning like a big dog from 8 to 12, and got to eat whatever food I went into, which usually included lots of sugar and a little bit of milk. But before we get to the discussions of nostalgia, let's hop on and talk to Joel Duggan of Star-Crossed Online, my co-host and also fellow Saturday morning alum. Joel Duggan, how are you?
Not too bad, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Also with us is Matthew Ducharme of Matt the Wad. I've heard he watched cartoons during the 80s, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah, cartoons during the 80s, baby. How you doing, Matt?
I'm feeling snazzy.
You feeling snazzy? Yeah, I've been having this. The last month or so, I've had this kind of nostalgic feel going on about, about my Saturday mornings, and I've really been tapping into it because I have a couple of teenagers, and I have one 7-year-old, or almost 7. She's gonna be 7 very soon, and as an adult, I won't tell you how old I am. Let's just say I'm old. All right, as an adult, you'll probably figure it out as we go along the show tonight. As an adult, I'm like, on Saturday mornings, most adults sleep in and let the kids rule the house, which has been the norm for how many years now? Forever. Right? Ever since modern man had an opportunity to work his stupid weekday job, 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever, he would get the weekends off. And that would be the times that the parents would sleep in, usually till 12 o'clock, apparently. But in America, these kids, and I hope other places too in the world, these kids get up and everything's to them. Everything's catered to them. The TV shows, the commercials, the food. You get to be king of the house. You've been at school all week. You don't run anything. You're constantly being bossed around. And then this one magical morning out of the week, you get to do your thing. Now, we could say Sunday morning now, different denominations of people. Some people don't go to church at all. Some people go to church in the South, very big. You had to go to church. There was no time for cartoons. You got to get to worship. You got to get out of here. You can't do that. Now, I don't know how that is across the rest of the world of the country. I don't know what Sunday mornings are for those people. I guarantee it's not fun, good times for the kids, though, because I can't think of any kid that woke up and said, what's the greatest day of the week? Sunday morning. I don't think that's what I hear much. Did you hear that much, Matt?
Well, no.
Joel?
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead,
No.
Matt.
What I totally
What's
didn't hear the question.
what's the greatest day of the week, Matt?
Oh, when you're a kid, it's definitely Saturday.
That's right.
You could say Friday, perhaps, only because the anticipation of the weekend coming. But no, Saturday morning is undoubtedly the high point of the entire weekend. It's all downhill from there. That's like the mini holiday of every week,
right,
for the kid life.
The mini holiday. Okay, so I'm going to say that I grew up when I was in the prime watching age for Saturday morning cartoons, which is I may have lingered on a little longer than other kids may have with the Saturday morning getting up early. But I mostly saw late 70s throughout the 80s and a little bit into the 90s on Saturday morning cartoons. What kind of time frame you got, Joel? When were you really doing the Saturday morning thing?
Probably through the 80s.
Through the 80s?
I lived in the same house until I was 10.
Right.
And when I moved into the new place, I don't remember there being a lot of Saturday morning cartoon stuff, at least not on a regular basis. So yeah, the first 10 years, it was all probably the 80s.
Wait, there's a story here. Why did you not have access to Saturday morning goodness on TV in the new spot?
Well, it's not that I didn't have access. It was just a different layout in the basement. And I also just got older. I got into biking and doing outside stuff. And
Outside stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure I still watched.
Who are you?
I'm sure I still watch cartoons on Saturday mornings at some point, but I found that there was a sweet spot when I was really little,
Right.
and then they started to stretch.
Yeah.
Then the Saturday morning cartoons, like they weren't cartoons, like they were
Can you
live
remember
action
the
shows.
moment that it broke? for you?
Right.
Saved by the Bell. Whenever my
Saved
younger
by the
sister got old
Bell.
enough to want to watch stuff like Saved by the Bell is when I went like, see ya, I'm going for a bike ride. And they used to put the really good cartoons on even earlier.
Right.
So by the time you're 12 and 13, I mean, I like getting up
sleeping
on
in.
Saturday morning, but I don't want to get up at 7 to watch Bugs Bunny.
You didn't want to get. I'm down with this, Matt. I'll tell you what, man. You know what we need to do before we go any further? I mean, we're talking nostalgia, but we need to listen to a little bit of Honeycomb commercial. Let's see if we can get some
Oh man.
some audio in on that.
Come to the Honeycomb Hideout.
I'm Big Betty the Blonde Bomber, and I want a big cereal.
Honeycomb's big, yeah. It's not small, no. Honeycomb's got a big bite. Big taste in a big bite.
Right. A good breakfast featuring post honeycomb cereal gives you a
Big bite.
it tastes right.
Honeycomb bite. It tastes right.
Did you guys eat the honeycomb for breakfast?
Hell yeah.
You know, that was not one of my favorites, I have to admit.
How would you describe honeycomb? Okay, it's sure you can say it's shaped like a honeycomb, but
you know
it's
what?
not.
It was kind of too big. I think that was my
was.
thing. It was like you could only get like 2 or 3 in your mouth, and
Right.
then that was it. I like to
the
get
thing-
a good big spoonful of something.
Yeah, the thing that I like about honeycombs is that they were so big that they never went soggy.
Are they big? Yeah.
Possibly.
They're not small.
No.
Also, I think the taste was not quite up to task compared to the other ones.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say this.
compared to what? I know one of you is going to say either like Chocula
Oh my gosh.
or
Of
Captain
course.
Crunch.
Oh, Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, Cocoa Puffs.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, Cocoa Puffs were delicious. Wait, I got a Captain Crunch commercial from the '60s, man, or maybe early '70s.
This unfortunate man is Stringfellow Bean, world's leading plant expert. And this is John Lafoot, world's meanest pirate.
And this is your last chance to tell me, what is a crunchberry? There's no such thing. Nom de plume. It say right on this box, Captain Crunch cereal with crunchberries. They taste like the strawberry, but they're not the strawberry.
Do they have seeds?
No.
Do they get mushy in milk?
No, they stay crunchy.
Then they're not berries.
You make the fool of me? I will.
You'll put up your patty paws. That's what you'll do, Jean Lafoot.
Yeah.
Captain Crunch, just in time.
Anytime's the time for Captain Crunch, especially Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries. It's got corn for crunch and oats for punch, and Crunch Berries for that little extra.
Monsieur Lafoot, now I know what crunch berries are.
What?
They're swell.
Captain Crunch and Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries from Quaker.
It just occurred to me, why did Captain Crunch sound drunk?
Oh, because he was drunk. What are you kidding me? He's
Well,
peddling sugar balls to kids.
He's a sailor, I guess. He hasn't got much to do on the ship.
He's like the least sailor ever. He's Captain Crunch, man. I don't even know if he's even supposed to be on a ship. I don't even know if that's a good
Okay,
idea.
now
More like
hold up.
Captain Morgan.
Right, Captain Morgan. But I will
Okay,
say one
now-
thing. I loved his sugar. I loved it.
I gotta let you in on the we all have our creepy weird sides, whatever.
Right.
I was kind of OCD as a kid. I would eat in the Crunchberry cereal. I would eat all the yellow parts first,
What?
and then I would eat the berries.
Oh my god, you're just the opposite of me. That's great. I would actually I wouldn't even do that. I'm not when I say opposite, what I actually mean to say is I would eat the crunch berries and then I would make my little sisters eat the crappy oats things. You're welcome. Because I'll tell you what, that was there's a couple of cereals that will eat your mouth. And Captain Crunch is one of them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that thing tears up your gums. Something fierce.
It does. That cracks me up though. You would okay. All right. So
I would do the same with Lucky Charms as well.
Oh, Lucky Charms. You would eat the
I would
crap
eat
first?
all the regular cereal, and then I would eat all the marshmallows.
So you were really buying into that whole thing. Your mom saying, it's like you got to eat your meat before you eat your pudding.
It was just this weird thing I had. I was always like, I always save the best for last. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know why I had that thing going on, but I did.
That's funny. Like I said, I would eat all the marshmallows. You know what I would do when I would dig? Of course, man, so much. How do we not all die from dysentery from cereal? Because I know back in the day they still do. They used to put the prizes. They used to put the prizes actually in the cereal, inside the cereal, and then as I got older, they started putting it like on the outside.
Well, they do it on the outside now. See,
yeah,
I haven't had anything like that in so long.
Right.
I think the last time I got a toy from cereal, I was probably still a kid, and it was in with the cereal.
See, it's because that's the thing. Because it was still in the box, but it was outside it's outside the bag. That's how they do it now, which is smart. But like I said, when we were kids, you had to dig. You literally had to just dig down to the bottom of the cereal and pull out a whole bunch of crap. And of course, being smart kids, as you got older, as you got to be a teenager, you realized, well, I'll just grab the big popcorn bowl that Mom has over here, pour it all out, and then and then get the prize,
and then pour it back in.
And then you pour it back in. But now, Joel, I don't know if you got any prizes in Honeycomb. Did they have prizes in Honeycomb?
I don't remember Honeycomb having prizes. I remember Rice Krispies used to have prizes. And I used to eat a lot of Rice Krispies too, but they're not like a super fun kid cereal. I just happen to like them.
I liked them when I put sugar on them. Yeah.
We always had fresh fruit around the house. I mean, I used to put bananas and strawberries on my Rice Krispies, which is really good. But I remember Rice Krispies would have prizes. I feel like maybe Cheerios as well.
Right.
I used to like Honey Nut Cheerios
I think it would
a lot.
depend. I think Honey Nut, I think they would put them in there. But the regular Cheerios was kind of like, that was for the grown-ups.
Yeah,
or
maybe not.
babies.
Well, I mean, and I say used to. There's a box of Honey Nut Cheerios and a box of Frosted Mini Wheats on my fridge right now.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I still eat cereal.
I do like the Frosted Mini Wheats. I'll agree with you there.
We eat them in the summertime because sometimes it's just too bloody hot to make like lunch, or you don't feel like a hot breakfast, so you're just like, I need something cold. So that we tend to have those around.
I'm definitely cereal's definitely a seasonal thing for me too. I have cereal in the hot months.
I am sure that I got at one point a foam glider in the Rice Krispies box. Like where it's got 2 pieces or 3 pieces where like there's the body of the plane, then you slide in tongue and groove like the wings, and then you do the same thing with the tail wing, and it's got like a little plastic propeller on the front of it, and you just chuck it and it goes 10 feet.
Oh,
that is some wild stuff, man. So I was curious about that because I was interested before we started the show. I didn't want to really point it out, but I was curious how the Canadian Saturday morning differed from the typical American Saturday morning. And it sounds like I don't want to generalize you, but it sounds like you're a little bit healthier in the morning time. We had horrible stuff. Was that part of your family life?
No, well, it probably part of my mom's. Like my mom's just always been healthy in that in that way. I also used to eat a lot of cereal and a lot of food when I was younger, and I can imagine that the expensive sugary cereals would just disappear too fast. So Mom would just buy, Rice Krispies because it was like, $5 for a 2-kilogram box. It would last forever.
You bought Rice Krispies by the kilo, is what you're saying?
Oh, easily. I still do.
Give me 2 kilos.
Yeah, I still do. I'm trying to think about what other. If there's anything more healthy. I mean, I was also cooking when I was young.
Right.
My mom just showed me how to make bacon and eggs like at an early age. So again, she didn't have to get out of bed. So I would by the time I was like 9, I was like frying eggs and making like toasted eggs and bacon for Saturday breakfast. So I I would have cereal too, but I didn't fill up on cereal because I had other things.
Right. When I was really young, my grandma used to. This is really. I mean, like I was probably like 4 or 5 or something. These are like some of my first memories. My grandma used to make. She would make scrambled eggs, grits. By the way, that's a Southern thing. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's a grit. And bacon. And she would take. Oh, I'm sorry. That's grits, eggs, bacon, and toast, dry toast. So what we'd do is we would take the dried toast, and we would tear it into squares. Shut up. And we would take the mixture of grits and eggs and bacon. Oh, and cheese. Don't forget the cheese. You got to have the cheese. And we would put that on the piece of toast, and then we'd eat that. And then we'd watch Bugs Bunny on a black and white TV. My grandma had a black and white TV. Had to watch the stupid Bugs Bunny on black and white TV. I'm not old enough to be like that, but totally would do that. And it still brings back fond memories.
Now I want to get into the Looney Tunes, but I got to rewind a little bit because
Right.
Joel brought up something that made me think. Like, I don't know if it was the same for you guys, but whenever we went to like the supermarket.
Right.
I would be bummed if we ever got like the generic version of the cereals.
Oh, yes.
I don't know why, because it was basically the same thing, but like in my kid mind, it was like, oh, that's such an inferior product.
Dude,
why can't we just get the real thing?
Man, when I was a kid, I don't remember going to the grocery store and seeing a generic cereal. It was unheard of because cereal was like 50 cents. I don't know, it was super cheap. Cereal now is like $4 for a little box of Sugar O's. It's ridiculous. That's the reason why generics are so huge. And you can buy oh my gosh, Walmart has and Costco had those huge, giant 5-pound bags of Fruity Flakes or whatever they call them. And those things are just insane. But yeah, I would, if my mom tried to pull off any of, that stupid, this cereal doesn't have a toy in it. Psh, there would be some kicking and screaming in the aisles that day. I'll tell you what.
I still skip over the generic brand,
right?
Because I've had them and they suck. Like, you get like they're right next to the Cheerios and they're called Honey O's.
Right.
And you're like, sure, you know what?
Tasty-O's over
yeah,
here.
Tasty-O's. Like, hey, they're on sale for $1. Why not? Like, I'm in college. I'll try this out. It's a lot cheaper than because I tell you right now, cereal these days is ridiculous. Like, I do not buy it unless it's on sale because it's like $8 for a 500-gram box of cereal. Anyway, so I get the Tasty-O's or the Honey-O's back to my dorm room, and they are crap. It is like styrofoam flavored corn, mold stuff, and he was like, "Nope, not doing it." Can't. And ever since university, I'm just like, "Nope, not happening." I will wait until I have enough money that I can buy the Post Honey Nut Cheerios.
The official Post Honey Nut Cheerios, please. None of that crap. All right.
Well, you brought up grits, Brian.
Yes,
and I had to look it up because I've heard of it, but I don't actually know what it was. And it turns out it's like corn.
Yeah, it's just
corn cereal.
It's basically it's just corn. It's ground up corn. Basically, it's called grits because it is kind of gritty. It's not like a hominy or something where you like boil a corn until it's really soft. It's almost like it's like little small kernels. That probably not a very good description. Until you've had grits, you can't really understand grits. But
so I had something similar. I had cream of wheat. Have you guys
cream
ever
of wheat?
Had that?
Yeah, cream of wheat is a lot creamier.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that's not to say. Now I don't want to get too far off from the grit conversation because you can easily tailspin into something like that because some people like it with butter and cheese. Other people put like sugar on it. You're like, are you insane? That's crazy. That's gross. But and so there's all kinds of different ways. But yeah, we should talk a little bit about that every time we do one of these nostalgia shows. We should talk a little bit more about the food stuff. I'm totally down with that because grits, oatmeal, that's all very regional stuff for everybody.
I feel like we should shift to the shows now, though. I
really
totally there's
do.
a lot of good stuff in this list and these notes,
Yes.
and I'd like to talk about some of them.
So we're going to transition right into I'm going to play a little bit of the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner hour that I was familiar with. We're going to play after that. We're going to pop in with the Bugs Bunny Tweety thing that I believe Joel was more familiar with. Mine was probably later 70s, early 80s, where I think Joel's is more like smack in the middle of the 80s.
Mid to late 80s, yeah.
Right. So let's bring that Bugs Bunny Roadrunner hour up.
The Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Show.
Overture, cut the lights. This is it, the night of nights. No more rehearsing and nursing a part. We know every part by heart. Overture, cut the lights. This is it, we'll hit the heights. And oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show, this is it.
things we'll hit. On with the show, this is it.
Starring that Oscar-winning rabbit, Bugs Bunny.
And also starring my fast-feathered friend, the Roadrunner. Meep, meep. Roadrunner, meep, meep. The time is up. Roadrunner, meep, meep. If he catches you, you're through. Roadrunner, meep, meep. The coyote's after you. Roadrunner, if he catches you, you're through. That coyote is really a crazy clown. Meep, meep. When will he learn that he never can mow him down? Meep, meep. Poor little Roadrunner never bothers anyone. Meep, meep. Running down the road, his idea of having fun. Meep, meep.
The Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Show.
The Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Show will return after these
So,
messages.
what about
Wow,
that?
all I can think is they saved a lot of money just by running that over and over. I mean, that was like
Yeah.
a 2-minute intro or something.
Right?
Yeah.
But man, that first part definitely brought back memories. I didn't remember the whole Roadrunner bit. That must have been earlier.
Yeah, they've had
You know?
they've had several permeations of Bugs Bunny / this character. I remember there was a Tweety, there was a Roadrunner, there was.
But the main part of the song, up
Yeah,
until it got into the Roadrunner, I totally remember that. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so ready to settle down in front of the TV, sunny Saturday morning, and just watch till my eyeballs bleed.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
the ABC package of all that was the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show, and they did the same thing. They took the same song, they extended the dancing and stuff like that, and all the different characters came out. But then there was Roadrunner cartoons in the hour, but there was no special Roadrunner intro.
Right, right.
And,
So
and when you play that Roadrunner song, that to me sounds like 70s.
right, it was totally 70s. It was later 70s, but it was right there. I've been trying to do a little bit of research because all of the like I said, there was multiple versions. I even remember a later version that wasn't Tweety; it was something else. I can't remember, but basically the idea was all those cartoons were originally cartoons that were tagged at the beginning of movies back in the day that Warner Brothers put, to promote their music or whatever they were doing at the time. Looney Tunes, just what you think it'd be. And so when Saturday morning TV started coming around, it's like, well, we've already got cartoons that we can show, high quality cartoons against original content, stuff like Hanna-Barbera was putting out and Filmation and those kind of guys. And it was, I tell you, man, it was such a good time.
Well, for me,
and
there was
such
no
quality.
contest. I mean, even when I was that little, I still knew I wanted to be an animator.
Right, right.
So I was always kind of watching them with that eye as well. And I could tell that they were just way above anything else that was on Saturday morning. Like any of the Filmation stuff or the Hanna-Barbera stuff just looked so primitive next to the old Warner Brothers ones.
And
it was the same run cycle that we use over and over again in He-Man.
Or walk cycle. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Punching the camera.
Right, punching the but it kind of makes that's some tough competition, stuff that
I have the power.
I wish we haven't got to that one yet. Now I would love to. I didn't get any clips for that because I didn't want to spend all of our material right away because oh my God, there's such a historic hugeness that is Saturday morning cartoons that we only can touch just a little bit today. But even if we don't play your favorite show during this episode, hopefully sometime soon we'll get around to it. What were you saying, Matt?
I've got a funny He-Man story. You
Oh
guys
my gosh.
remember the opening credits to He-Man? Before anything started, there was the Filmation logo, and it would do this little and then there would be like a little ding when the star hit like the eye in film.
Right, right.
Anyway, in university, somebody had the intro, and they started to play it loud, like over the speakers, in the room.
Right, right.
And it was like, studying for midterms. And so this ding played, and like every dude on the floor, their heads just kind of popped out and was like, is that what I think it is? Oh. And then you hear it. And everybody starts going down this room like, oh my God, is it on Teletoon? Are you kidding? Is it really on Teletoon? And we get there and the dude had an MP3 and he was just playing the theme song, but someone had ripped it from TV. So it had the Filmation logo in front of it. And all of us was like, oh, how awesome would it be if that was on Teletoon right now?
Such a shared experience we had growing up.
Oh, man. Like, I kid you not, there was probably 8 guys that went running down the hallway to whoever had the TV.
Right. Let's watch it now. All right. So, okay. So, well, I don't want to get too far away before we play the Bugs Bunny Tweety.
Oh, good. All right.
Tweety
So
one,
do the Bugs Bunny and Tweety, and then I have a question for
All
you guys.
Rehearsing and nursing a part. We know every part by heart. Oh, mature curtain lights. This is it. We'll hit the heights. And oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show. This is it. Tonight, what heights we'll hit.
The Bugs Bunny and Tweety Show.
Yeah, I think I remember that one too. All right, so question for you guys, because obviously there's a lot of different episodes of Looney Tunes.
Right.
But when you hear the phrase Looney Tunes, what's the first short that pops into your head?
The first one that I think of is the orchestra one, the one where he goes against the composer.
Oh,
I can't remember,
yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of it, but he's just so
What's
angry.
Opera Doc?
Yeah, What's Opera Doc? That's it.
Oh no, that's the one.
No, that's the Elmer Fudd one.
Yeah, it is the Elmer
That's
Fudd one.
the one with
You're
Elmer Fudd.
You're thinking of, I don't remember the name of it. It's the one where he's impersonating Leopold.
Yeah, and he's
and
going up
and
against
there's
the opera singer.
Yeah, the opera singer is on stage, and he ends up holding the note so long that the stage crumbles. Yeah,
it's called Long-Haired Hair, I think. That was one it was called.
That is a great one. I think I have that one on DVD.
One of my favorites. What was you thinking, Matt? What was your go-to Looney Tunes?
Yeah, it was probably going to be the Kill the Wabbit, Kill the Wabbit.
So epic and monumental.
Just the fat horse alone cracks me up every damn time. Every damn time.
Do you have any catchphrases from that? I mean, what's up, Doc? No one used that, but I remember the one where Bugs Bunny was going against Yosemite Sam was the knight, and was it Knight's Tale or something like that? Bug's Tale.
I can't remember.
He tells him to let down the drawbridge, and then it slams on top of him, and he's absolutely squashed. Put it up again. And I'm always saying that if I get my hand caught in anything, or if somebody puts something on me, I'm like, put it up again, all the time.
How about you, Joel?
Yeah. It would be the Rabbit of Seville would be the first one that pops into my head.
That is a great one.
And it's funny because it's you and me, Matt. Both the music is probably what made it stick, right? Absolutely. With the What's Opera Doc.
Not just that. The Chuck Jones ones always stood out.
Well, absolutely.
So far and above all the rest of them.
Well, and the other Tex Avery now. Come on.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny. I was always a big Chuck Jones, and there's one other director that I really like, but Tex Avery was not one of them.
Yeah.
Because I remember having this conversation with John Kay when he was working here in Halifax on a couple of music videos, and I had the opportunity to go to dinner with him, and he is a huge Tex Avery fan, and I remember having to bite my tongue because I'm just like I just don't get it. It's too out there for me. But the other one that really comes to mind is a Daffy Duck and Porky Pig cartoon when he's Robin Hood.
Right.
Oh, that's another Chuck Jones one, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the combination of Chuck Jones and Maurice Noble for the backgrounds, because the images, smash, yeah, no, absolutely, yoink and away, smash, yeah. And then the thing about that one is that Porky Pig is just killing himself laughing in the background.
Yeah, that's one of those things. He's laughing so hard, you start laughing.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I think it's the combination, because I mean the Watts Opera Doc, that's also Maurice Noble doing the backgrounds, and they provide, like, between the Chuck Jones comedy and the timing, and then the visuals of just like these iconic graphically designed backgrounds. They burn into your brains. Not to mention that I'm sure we've seen them like a couple hundred times, but
right.
Like just it was just such a iconic imagery as far as cartoons were concerned to take in, as a kid. So I've got a really great book by Maurice Noble. It's called The Noble Approach.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Beautiful book.
Do you guys pick up both the Chuck Amuck books? There's Chuck Amuck and
I
Chuck
have the
Redux.
first one.
I have the first one. I don't have the second one. Yeah,
he's great. I don't know if I'm assuming he wrote the book, but whoever wrote the book is just fantastic. It's just so much fun and so lighthearted. And,
no, he wrote it. It's an autobiography.
It is. Okay, yeah. So I couldn't remember. It's been a few years since I've read it, but it was. I remember it being, studying animators as I did. He just blew me away. But Tex Avery, I have a funny Tex Avery story. I actually own TexAvery.com. And
no kidding.
French people love the Tex Avery. Let me tell you. We have. Let me put this. Let me rephrase that. French porn sites love us because don't ask me why, but for some reason, you know how when you'll go to a site that may be a little bit too adult, and they'll say, "Hey, you can get out of here if you click here," or or do you want to go ahead? And you got your choice there. You've got your gateway, whether you want to go in or not go in. And apparently, we were popular for the not go in crowd. So if you didn't want to go into the French porn, you could cancel out, and they would send you to TexAvery.com. And we had actually that was a fun story. But the other thing too, we were contacted by Tex Avery's daughter at one point in time because we purchased this name back in the beginning of when people were really getting domains, and the idea of does a celebrity own a domain name, or can someone have a fan site and own the domain name, even though it's your name? So there was kind of a question there. Well, she called us and she was kind of like, okay, you need to hand that over to us. And she wasn't overly nice about it. And so we was like, okay, well, we're enjoying this as the fan site thing. And so it's kind of like a mix between, am I a dick to Tex Avery, one of my heroes? Am I a dick to his daughter and say no? Or do I try to forge this new idea of what the internet is? Is it okay to have a domain name of a celebrity and make a fan site that's attributed to him? Because we didn't make any money off of it. We don't make any money at all. And we were back and forth, couldn't decide. And so we were actually contacted by the rights holder of the material of Tex Avery, the rights holder of that was not his daughter. And they said, yeah, no, just don't worry about it. Keep your fan site. So that was kind of I still had lots of sleepless nights about it, though, man. I was like, oh, Tex Avery would be so disappointed in me. Tex Avery's so disappointed. I'm so sorry. But we still own the domain name. Whatever. But that's my sad, depressing story about Saturday morning cartoons and how it ruined my life.
I think the other director that I was drawn to in Looney Tunes was Friz Freleng.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he did a lot of the Sylvester Tweety stuff.
Yeah, but
and he did a lot of the the ones where it was Bugs Bunny versus not Foghorn Leghorn. Who's the guy with the mustaches and shoots everything up? Yosemite Sam. Yeah. Where he did the diving one.
Oh yes, that's a classic. That's a classic.
Yeah,
that was Fritz Freleng, I think.
Yeah, Freleng redesigned Yosemite Sam.
Oh yeah,
as well, and I think Sylvester and Tweety. So then, like when that happens, they tend to end up taking over a lot of the direction for the new
right.
For the new.
I did
new
not
cartoons.
like Tweety.
Yeah, I hated Tweety.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. The one that I really liked that, of course, they stopped running as I got older because it was pretty racist. Was Speedy Gonzales.
Oh yeah, those ones were
those
pretty
weren't
awesome.
racist. What are you talking about? Those were
Speedy Gonzales, the fastest
know.
mouse in all of Mexico.
Yeah. There was a lot of Looney Tunes that were.
There was a lot of racism in there because what did I see? Someone posted something on Facebook or something where they were like, "Oh, I was on a crowded subway and I said just a cotton picking minute," and realized I was surrounded by black people and realized how racist that saying is.
Oh, we could go on for an hour about how Looney Tunes was something that was, most of those were created, decades before. And so the sensibility was totally different. I mean, by the time we'd watched Looney Tunes, a whole slew of things socially had happened.
Watch them. There was a period, I think it was in the late 80s.
Right.
Or something. Maybe it was even the very early 90s, where for some reason they censored the word gay. Anytime gay came up in the cartoons, they would like blank it out.
And it was, it was a reference to happy at that time. I mean, it was like a gay old time. We hadn't put that into our vernacular just yet. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, they edited. Oh man, it was huge. I remember as I got older, as I was a teenager, I started, I was feeling nostalgic then, and I remember going back and going, oh man, the ones they were showing us were so edited. And then when the internet came around, it was like, oh my gosh, I can go look at all these, these horrible things that were, that they had created. That you could still watch on the internet only. You couldn't watch it on the TV.
Well, I was looking before and I couldn't find any place to see any of the old classic ones. I mean, there's some stuff on YouTube, but it's like a 4-hour long compilation of things, and I didn't really want to wade through it. But you can't just get like singular episodes. It seems like
no, it's really
I've got them all on DVD, so
I got them on VHS. Suck it. All right. I love I would love to have the complete collection on DVD, but oh my gosh, it is such a nightmare. You think it's hard to try to figure out which edition of Star Wars you want to get. You try to figure out which edition of the freaking Bugs Bunnies that you want to get. There's so many.
Like each of the sets has like a handful of ones that you're like, oh my god, that's the classic one that I want,
exclusive to this.
And then they've got ones from the 30s where you're just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, exactly. You got to wade through those ones to get to the good stuff.
They're pretty cheap now, though. I mean, I'm looking at Looney Tunes Golden Collection Volume 1, which is the collection that I have.
Right.
And I've got like volumes 1 through 4, and it's currently $40.
Wow, that's not bad.
And it's a 4 DVD. I mean, for $10 a DVD, that's not bad.
It's not bad. Hey, you know what we need to get to before we do that? We need to run straight into the 80s before we get too far back, and we're going to do some Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Dungeons and Dragons ride. Wow, neat.
Give me a break.
I don't like this.
Whoa! What's happening?
Whoa!
Where are we? Look out!
Fear not, stranger. Barbarian, magician, thief, cavalier, and acrobat.
Who was that?
That was Venger, the force of evil. I am Dungeon Master, your guide in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons.
All I could think of while we were listening to that is that was basically a great example of the sound effects library from the 80s.
No, totally.
Yeah. You hear that laser in every single show. Yeah, exactly. Well, when I heard that laser sound, it made me think of the Thundercats intro.
Right. You know what blew me away about Dungeons and Dragons? I mean, sure, it was based on Dungeons and Dragons, which is a great childhood memory as well. But the thing that blew me away was they actually had a side character that wasn't annoying, because we've been coming up through the 70s and we had seen where they were throwing a whole bunch of robots into any freaking thing they could throw a stupid relatable robot into. But we had Uni in this, a little small unicorn, and by all rights. By all rights, it should have been, the Jar Jar Binks of his time, but it wasn't. It was had a little high-pitched voice, and just for some reason, it was charming and endearing, and it worked. Maybe they didn't use him too much, overuse him.
Don't get me started on sidekicks. I don't know many people who liked Snarf, for example.
Oh,
God, I wanted to strangle Snarf. I was like, get out of there. I don't care about you. I just want to see the cool Thundercats doing
You just
their
want to
thing.
see Chitara and her hot little cheetah bikini.
Well, see, you can see my whole feelings about this when you see my little anime short that I did at the WAD one.
Yes.
That explains all of how I felt about like the whole anime, all those like Thundercats and
Right.
and what is it, Silverhawks.
Silverhawks. Oh,
Brave Star.
I want to. We're kind of running short on time here. We're just about out of time, but I want to do one more from the late '80s, which I think, surprisingly enough, I did not think that we all were like enamored with. It was at the time. It seemed like it was just another stupid little Disney cartoon. So let's roll Gummy Bears.
Dashing and daring, courageous and caring, faithful and friendly with stories to share. All through the forest they sing out in chorus, marching along as their song fills the air. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. High adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. Magic and mystery are part of their history, along with the secret of gummy berry juice. The legend is growing, they take pride in knowing the fight for what's right in whatever they do. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. High adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
I mean, okay. Let's just go ahead and say Count Dookie is my favorite. Mr. Dookie. Duke.
I totally don't remember that.
You don't remember Dookie?
He was the guy that had like the gray hood on and the big nose with the mustache, and he was the bad guy.
He was the
I
bad guy.
totally forgot so much. I know I watched it all the time, but
right.
I've lost so much of it. I mean, the only thing I remember is this one episode where they clearly had a character that was based off of Clint Eastwood, like this bounty hunter character.
Mm-hmm.
Disney was having a really good run about this time with Tailspin and
the Wuzzles.
The Wuzzles. I mean, all that. Now the Wuzzles. DuckTales was huge, and
Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck. See, that's how they Disney was the bridge that was to come, which was we're gonna have cartoons all the freaking time. In the Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, and this is where it started kind of eroding away at our, the Saturday morning cartoons that were happening during the 60s, 70s, 80s, and
around
90s.
the same time, I think it was like 90.
Right.
Actually, that's when we got like the cartoon for the little bit older audience, which was Batman the Animated Series, which I always felt was
I think.
incredible.
Things were changing, my friend. Things were changing, and some of it was for the better. But unfortunately, Saturday morning suffered from that transition, and it of course it allows me to feel this great nostalgia that I have today, and I feel lucky to be part of a generation or generations that got to really enjoy that. And I wish my kids could experience that. I think they still experience that, getting up on Saturday mornings and ruling the house, but it seems more like it's about devices and playing games, and It's the same way. It's the same thing that happened to my darn Christmas specials. My kids could care less about a Christmas special. You know what I mean? They don't care. They don't get excited about the CBS Christmas special logo thing come flying in at you. They don't care about that crap. You know what I mean? But that's how I feel. I had a great show with you guys talking about Saturday morning, and I think we didn't even come close to scratching the surface.
Well, I think that means there has to be another future episode out there somewhere where we talk about the rest of these.
I agree, and maybe a few less technical issues next time, and we can focus more on having a good time, which I did. I had a great time, and I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to our special Comics Coast to Coast Saturday morning edition, I guess you could call this. If you want to follow Joel Duggan, you can follow him on Twitter at Joel Duggan, and you can visit his website at Starcrossed Online. And I believe you still have a Patreon going on, don't you?
I do. It's patreon.com/Joel Duggan, and I just introduced a new Patreon level, so go check it out.
On your Patreon level, now you can ride Joel like a pony.
Yeah.
For only $5. All right. Also,
So worth it.
Right, totally worth it. I'm buying in right now. Matthew Ducharme of Matt the Wad. You can follow him on Twitter at Matt_the_Wad. What you got going on, brother? I knew you were working on some animation.
Yeah, working on another music video, but it probably won't see the light of day till next year.
Right? Is this another Madonna video like last time, or is this something
Absolutely.
else?
So dirty.
Right, so
No,
dirty.
it's not.
It's cone boobs and all. That'll be next week's episode of Comics Coast to Coast. 80s music legends. Madonna, Michael Jackson. No, I hope not. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. You can follow me at the Brian Dunaway. You can also see my website at briandunaway.com. And be sure to visit comicscoasttocoast.com. We've just set up a section for live broadcast because we're broadcasting live on Alpha Geek Radio, which we were not able to do tonight. I have a few questions I think that I messed up on that I need to get straightened out. We are broadcasting live on YouTube now as well. We have a YouTube channel there at youtube.com, Comics C2C. You can get to all that stuff from our website. And you also can follow us at Comics C2C on Twitter. That's about it, right, guys? I think we had a good time. Had a great time.
Indeed. Agreed.
Agreed. And until next week, go watch some cartoons.
Okie dokie dokie.
Okay. Okie dokie dokie. I love that guy. Cracks me up.